Hello everyone, this is Rig. Welcome to episode 13 of the Gupta Empire series. As we have discussed in our last videos, that Gupta Empire was the time when Sanskrit literature was at its peak. Hence, today's episode will be about Gupta literature. We are going to go deep into the details of the Sanskrit literature, who were the main writers during those period and what was their contribution in Indian history. Hence, let's start. Golden Age of Sanskrit Literature. The Gupta period is known as the Golden Age of Sanskrit literature due to the immense contributions in art, culture, and learning. According to historian Burnett, the Gupta period in India can be compared to the Periclean age in Greece and the Elizabethan era in England. Dr. Smith states that just as the brilliance of Shakespeare overshadowed other English writers, Kalidas and other Gupta era writers outshone their contemporaries. Even if Shakespeare had not written, English literature would still be remembered. Similarly, the legacy of Kalidas would be prominent. The Gupta period produced many other notable literary works, making it an extraordinary era in the literary achievement. Kalidas, a controversial timeline. There are various theories regarding the exact period when Kalidas lived and wrote his works. One theory claims that Kalidas lived in the 1st century BC, making him a contemporary of King Vikramaditya of Ujjain. Others argue that Kalidas belonged to the Gupta period, possibly during the reign of Chandragupta II Vikramaditya. Scholars have noted resemblances between Kalidasa's work and those of Ashvaghosha, suggesting that Kalidas might have borrowed ideas. Despite these debates, Kalidas' literary genius is widely recognized and his works have stood the test of time, making him one of the greatest Sanskrit poets. Kalidas's connection to King Vikramaditya. Kalidasa's patronage is linked to King Vikramaditya, with Ujjain being an important cultural and literary center. A stone panel with Sanskrit inscription discovered in 1964 near Kalidasa's place in Ujjain supports the claim that Kalidas flourished during the reign of Vikramaditya. This discovery, 7 miles from Ujjain, places Kalidasa's life and works between 350 AD and 472 AD, further affirming his connection to the Gupta period. Kalidas is credited with revising the Setubandha poem, which describes the construction of the bridge by Lord Rama to Lanka. This revision was done under the reign of King Pravarasena II of the Vakataka dynasty, further cementing Kalidasa's historical timeline. Personal life of Kalidas. Kalidas is believed to have been born into a Brahmana family, though he was raised by a cowherd in his early life according to tradition. He was described as uneducated and coarse in his youth, but with time he developed into one of the greatest poets of his era. There is a popular story about Kalidasa's marriage to a princess, orchestrated through the trickery of a minister. After his marriage, Kalidasa's intellectual and poetic abilities blossomed, earning him fame throughout the land. Kalidasa's life story, though shrouded in myth, continues to inspire discussions about his humble beginnings and rise to literary prominence. Major works of Kalidas. Kalidasa's most important and famous works include Abhijnana-Shakuntala, Kumara-Sambhava, Raghuvamsha, Meghdutta, and Vikramorvashya. Abhijnana-Shakuntala is considered one of the greatest works in classical Sanskrit literature, particularly praised for its emotional depth and character development. Kumara Sambhava deals with the birth of Kartikeya, the son of Shiva and Parvati, showcasing Kalidasa's poetic mastery of romance and literature. Raghuvamsha narrates the lineage of Raghu dynasty with detailed descriptions of battles, genealogy, and virtues of kings. Meghdutta is a lyrical poem that tells the story of Yaksha who sends a message to his lover through a cloud, emphasizing Kalidasa's skill in vivid natural descriptions. Vasa, an enigmatic playwright. Vasa is praised by Kalidas and Bana, yet scholars still debate his exact timeline, with most agreeing he lived around 300 AD. Vasa's 13 plays were rediscovered in the Trivandrum manuscripts in early 20th century, reigniting interest in his works. Some of Vasa's most notable plays include Safna Vasavadatta, Pratijya Yugadharanayana, Uruvanga, and Abhimaraka. His works were known for their dramatic technique and structure, particularly their treatment of love, duty, and political intrigue. Vasa's influence is evident in later Sanskrit drama, with his plays being performed even today, making him a pivotal figure in ancient Indian theatre. Sudraka, a dramatist of note. Sudraka, the author of Mrichagatika, the little clay cart, is another key literary figure from the Gupta era, though little is known about his life. Mrichagatika is a 10-act Sanskrit play dealing with love, politics, and social conflict in an ancient Indian setting. The play centers around a poor Brahmana named Charudatta and his love for a courtesan named Vasantasena, exploring themes of morality and justice. It is considered one of the most interesting and complex dramas from the classical period of Sanskrit literature. Shudraka's influence extended beyond his lifetime, with his work being adapted into modern plays and films, ensuring his lasting legacy. Vishakhadatta's political drama. Vishakhadatta, a playwright of Gupta period, is most famous for his play Mudra-Rakshasa, which centers on a political rise of Chandragupta Maurya. Mudra-Rakshasa depicts the Machiavellian strategies of Chanakya in securing Chandragupta's reign over the Magadhan Empire. Vishakhadatta's work is notable for its realistic portrayal of political intrigue, diplomacy, and espionage, setting it apart from other classical dramas. Devi Chandraguptam, another play attributed to Vishakhadatta, further explores historical and political themes, though much of it has been lost. His works provide a glimpse into the political and social conditions of the Gupta period, particularly its focus on statecraft and governance. Panchatantra, a collection of fables. The Panchatantra, composed by Vishnu Sharman, is one of the most translated works of Indian literature, with versions in over 50 languages. The text is a collection of animal fables that impart moral lessons and practical wisdom, using allegories to convey ethical values. The Panchatantra played a significant role in shaping storytelling traditions not only in India but across the world, influencing literary works in various cultures. Its five-book cover topics like the importance of teamwork, the consequences of hasty decisions, and the dangers of trusting blindly. The tales of Panchatantra continue to be a valuable educational tool with adaptations in English, Persian, Arabic, and several European languages. Puranas and Smritis. The Gupta period saw the further compilation and expansion of Puranas, which provided detailed genealogies of dynasties and mythological narratives. Major Puranas like the Vishnu Purana and Matsya Purana were expanded during this period, including updates to historical events. The Smritis of Yajnavalkya, Narada, and Katyayana provided legal codes and guidance on social behavior, making them central to Gupta era jurisprudence. The Smritis covered various aspects of life, including family law, inheritance, and religious duties, forming the basis for medieval Hindu law. These texts had profound influence on the administration, social customs, and religious practices of the Gupta period and later Indian history. Astronomy and mathematics. Aryabhata, one of the foremost astronomers and mathematicians of the Gupta period, wrote the Aryabhatiya, which introduced the concept of zero. Aryabhata's work on planetary motions and eclipses, particularly his explanation of Earth's rotation, was groundbreaking for the time. Varahamihira, another major figure, authored the Brihat Samhita, a compendium of knowledge covering astrology, geography, and natural sciences. Brahmagupta's Brahaspati Siddhanta was a foundational text on mathematics and astronomy, where he introduced rules for arithmetic operations, particularly with zero and negative numbers. The works of Aryabhatta, Varahamihira, and Brahmagupta laid the groundwork for many later developments in Indian and global mathematics and astronomy. Philosophical works. Vyasa's Vyasabhashya on the Yoga Sutras was one of the major philosophical texts of the Gupta period, influencing Hindu philosophical thought. Buddhist scholars like the Vasubandhu and Asanga produced significant works during this time, contributing to Mahayana and Hinayana philosophies. Pramana Samukkaya, written by Diganaga, became a seminal work on logic and epistemology, forming a foundation for later Buddhist logic. Philosophers such as Bodhayana and Upavasa contributed to Visheshlika Mimamsa philosophies, expanding the intellectual horizons of the time. The Gupta period witnessed a synthesis of various schools of thought, from yoga and Vedanta to Buddhist and Jain philosophies, creating a rich intellectual tradition. Medical literature. The Navanitakam, a medical compendium, emerged during the Gupta period, covering treatments for various diseases and ailments. It contains practical information on the preparation of medicines, herbal remedies, and prescriptions used during this time. Palakapya's Hasta Ayurveda is a significant text dedicated to the care and treatment of elephants, a critical resource for Gupta royalty and military. Medical treatises from the Gupta period showcased advanced knowledge of anatomy and surgery and the use of herbal medicines. The detailed prescriptions and medical practices documented during this time have been influential in the development of Ayurveda, the traditional Indian system of medicine. Political and royal prasastis. Harisena, Samudragupta's court poet, composed the Allahabad Prasasti, pillar inscription, detailing the king's conquests and military achievements. This inscription is one of the most significant sources for understanding the political history and expansionist policies of Samudragupta. The Prasasti also highlights Samudragupta's cultural patronage, illustrating the blend of political power and support for the arts during his reign. Other important inscriptions from the Gupta period include Vatsavati Prasasti, the Harsha Prasasti, further documenting the ruler's accomplishments. These prasastis serve as a key source of historical data, providing detailed records of the royal victories, territorial expansions, and the political strategies of the Gupta emperors. Conclusive overview of Gupta literature. Golden Age of Literature. The Gupta period is rightly called the Golden Age of Sanskrit literature, comparable to the Elizabethan era in England, producing some of the most significant works in Indian literary history. Kalidasa's legacy. Kalidas, the era's most prominent figure, is celebrated for masterpieces like Shakuntala, Raghuvamsha, Meghdatta, showcasing the literary and poetic brilliance of the time. Dramatists and playwrights. The Gupta period nurtured other dramatists like Vasa and Sudraka, whose works, including Micchagatika, Swapna Vasamadatta, remain pivotal to classical Sanskrit drama. Political and philosophical literature. Texts like Vishakhadatta's Mudra-Rakshasa reflect the era's political intrigue, while philosophers like Vyasa, Vasubandhu contributed to both Hindu and Buddhist thought. Scientific contributions. Scholars like Aryabhata and Varahamihira made groundbreaking advancements in mathematics and astronomy, with works that influenced global scientific developments. Medical and veterinary texts. The Gupta medical literature, including the Navanitakam and Hasta Ayurveda, reflected advanced knowledge in human and veterinary medicine. Enduring legacy. The literary and intellectual achievements of the Gupta period laid the foundation for future generations, with works from this era continuing to inspire and shape the Indian literature and culture. So, with this, we give you a detailed account of Gupta literature. There were various aspects to cover in this video, and I hope this video will be very important to you if you are pursuing for any exams related to history. With your support, I hope to bring brighter contents in future. Thank you so much for your love and support.